Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. It's your favorite dark sorcerer here, and today I want to kind of talk to you little bit about the fall of Balg. How to become a living god. And some of you may get a little butthurt over what I have to say. Personally, I don't really give a shit. I'll tell you that right up front. Now, I'm also going to bring in a little bit of history for you as well on this because I think it's something that's important. Something that's important to remember. Back in 19 let's go back in the let's say the 1600s, early 1600s, we see where two children in Salem decided to play a game. This kicked off the witch trials and the burning times, the persecutions even of practitioners of witchcraft and magic. We go into the late 80s, early 90s. We see where Charles Manson formed a family and basically went on a killing spree. People accused Charles Manson of being a member of the COS during this time period. The ironic part is that they failed to realize that he was kicked out of the COS, the Church of Satan, long before he formed his little family. Okay? People forget this, and this literally kicked off what is now known as the Satanic Panic. The last few years, let's say the last 4 or 5 years, we've seen an increase of paranoia on social media. The media has been taking advantage of a lot of different things. You've got groups now in violation of the First Amendment rights. There was a group down in Florida and who investigates the rights of Pedro Mayambi, what they refer to as occult crimes. We also see in Malawi where there's a special task force set up to investigate occult crimes. Hell, even the FBI has, the Federal Bureau of Investigations has their own special division, okay, associated with cyber crimes, also to investigate occult crimes, okay, supposed occult crimes. We've seen countless testimonies from law enforcement officers who have said there is nothing criminal about these organizations. But yet, due to the news outlets and ego-driven maniacs, and I'm going to use that terminology lightly, maniacs, who are only trying to build up their brand because on the blood of others because they want to stay in drama and make false accusations, is nothing more than egomaniacs, basically. It's their way or the highway. The stupidity of individuals not doing their own homework into history and mythology and occultism, specifically symbolism, which you can easily find right here on your technology. It's called Google. Google it. Look it up. It takes 2 fucking seconds. Okay? That still think that occultism, groups like Satanism, are associated with criminal activity. Again, not learning between the occult and a cult. Two different things. A cult surrounds themselves with criminal activity because they want to be separate from the established norms. They're unhappy with the government, so they put up picket fences. They put together a family like, how should I say this? Armed individuals, their right to bear free, their right to for free arms, to bear arms, stuff like that, Second Amendment rights, and it's interesting to see that even with all this, the media is allowed to blow shit up to the point where it commits terrorism, acts of terrorism. Why isn't the BBC, for an example, be taking responsibility for their actions? In fact, why isn't the legal laws of Scotland Yard not arresting the individuals responsible for the articles against Balg? How to become a living God. Think about this for just a minute. You have laws that prevent people from inciting a riot, inciting terrorism, but yet nobody enforces this. Why? Is it because it's coming from a Christian source? I want you to think about this for just a minute. Let it sink in. Last year, a kid committed a crime, horrifying crime at that. The amount of being, how should I say, the amount of mental how should I say this? I want to choose the right word here. Let's call it a mental breakdown, okay, within this individual's thought persona, thought form, that drove him to commit crimes, such as murdering two girls on his birthday. Premeditated at that. You see, that's where it should have stopped. Premeditated murder, maybe mental um, dissolution, okay? Dissolution, you know what I'm saying? He could have had a mental illness. He could have had schizophrenia, listening to the voices in his head, so to speak. Did they question this? No, they went straight for the thing that would make news. The biggest organization out there right now on social media, popular social media to be precise, was How to Become a Living God. They found that he was on their link. Wow, let's bring Balg into this criminal organization. Let's bring in this other group that he supposedly frequented. Oh, let's call them an act of terrorism. Okay, inciting murder, mass murder. There, in this case, this organization, what was it? Something about something involved blood or something like that. I can't remember offhand what it was. I think it was the Order of Blood or the Brotherhood of Blood or something like that. It reminds me of one of those ISIS type groups, maybe a miniature one. But you put these two together, it does put what is known as a blanket of darkness over something. Okay, a stigma, if you will. But people don't do their homework. It's better to incite fear and terrorism than to actually report the truth. Okay, this individual was not mentally sound. He committed crimes. He committed a crime. Where's his responsibility to it? Anybody who gets into Satanism knows that responsibility is to the responsible. That's what Satan represents. But wait, where's this guy's responsibility? Where is he taking responsibility? Is he able to take responsibility for his actions? Or is it due to the mental illness that he could possibly have that's preventing him from acknowledging that he committed a crime? You think of all the brainwashing within Christianity. You're indoctrinated into an organization where you don't have a choice to even begin to learn about any other religion. No, you are indoctrinated into Christianity and therefore you grow up in that system. This individual, from what I understand, has no ties to any affiliated occult practice. Never before practiced. Where's the history? Where's the history of this kid in occultism? There is none until just before he committed these crimes. He started viewing different sites, acts of violence, the grotesque, violent aspects of it. This suggests, from a psychological perspective, as a counseling, a counselor or a physician's perspective, would be mental illness. Okay, a downfall into his own mind, not associated with occultism. Okay, the fact that he went out, bought the knife. Did he plan on killing these individuals that night? Did he choose them, target them? Anybody who's ever studied the actions of serial killers would note that some picked at random. You take the Zodiac, for an example. He utilized the star constellations to commit his crimes, but he was never caught and he was never found because he was competent. He was found competent, basically meaning he knew exactly what he was doing. And his prey, the most popular prey, was humans for him. But let's take, for an example, the Boston Strangler. What about Son of Sam? What about Jack the Ripper? Okay. These were mentally disturbed individuals. Okay. Mentally disturbed individuals. And I want you to think about this for just a minute. They couldn't rationalize right from wrong. Even after they were caught, sentenced to life imprisonment, they still can't acknowledge that they committed a heinous crime against humanity. But nobody targets Christianity over the crimes that they've committed towards humanity. Hmm. Talk about religious discrimination. Wow. And then you got social media trying to limit freedom of speech and freedom of religion right here in America. YouTube's an American company. Instagram, American company. Facebook, American company. Therefore, associated with American laws. Why isn't the legal system upholding this? Why isn't the Department of Justice or the American Civil Liberties Union getting involved in this? The individual rights of E.A. Koetting and his company is being violated on numerous levels. What makes you think that he or his company was even involved in this kid's actions? Just because this kid frequented his forums? Hell, I can get underneath Google and get underneath E.A. Koetting's forums. Does that make me guilty of association with a serial killer? No. This kid was mentally disturbed. He committed a crime in another country. The BBC News targeted and chose to target a specific religion, a specific religious practice, just because that kid associated with it. Plain and simple. And again, did we learn nothing from history? Did we learn nothing from the past? We claim to be an enlightened people because we live in an age of enlightenment, an age where information is right here, technology, right at our fingertips, on a laptop, smartphone, iPad, you know, cell phone, whatever. But are you really? One person does a crime, and everybody's got to get into it. When this event went down last year, I predicted that people are going to jump all over this. Sometimes I hate being right. Last year, you had a couple people, D.H. Thorne, and for one, and another that literally stuck up for E.A. Koetting and was appalled that BBC News was accusing E.A. Koetting and Balg of knowing and inciting this crime. But nobody stopped to think, did he have anything to do with it? No. You see, it's called guilty by association. That's all it is. It's speculation in a court of law. So when we get down to it, here we are just about a year later. I get underneath YouTube earlier and before my last video and found out that E.A. Koetting's forum right here on YouTube has been canceled. It's been taken down. He had over 800 subscribers, 800,000 subscribers. And it was just taken down, all because of this one article. Does this not go back to the witch trials? The satanic panic? Because that's all it is. It's a witch hunt. They're not getting answers from the horse's mouth, so they'd rather accuse and try to connect the dots. No evidence, no nothing outside of this kid's personal actions. So here we are. His account has been terminated, kicked off, all his videos taken down, which, to be fair, lately they're kind of extreme. So I don't really buy into it. But especially with all the drama that was taking place, especially through the implosion of Balg, anyways, and now it seems somebody's decided to eliminate the issue. So, just as I predicted, Bokor Leonard Emera has jumped all over this. D.H. Thorne has jumped all over this. And there's at least 4 others that I've noticed right here on YouTube that's jumped all over this. At least D.H. Thorne has the integrity to think logically rather than to jump to assumptions and not trying to take anything for granted. The fact that Leonard Emera is beating his own chest, going, "Well, I told you so." According to him, it was 2 to 3 years ago. He beat his chest over, "Oh, I gave you the warning not to fuck with voodoo, not to break your oaths to voodoo." Yada, yada, yada. Now, I wonder how long it's going to be before some of these other trolls decide to get in on it as well. My point is this, ladies and gentlemen. Don't believe the hype. Don't be drugged down into the sandpit of drama, misdirection, and chaos. Do your homework. Back up what you preach, or be just another troll on cyberspace. That's up to you. No one else can do that for you but you. As for the BBC and YouTube, you might want to rethink your decisions because you've already given him more than enough ammo to file a civil suit against you. Just saying. Figured I'd put my 2 cents in and kind of just enlighten you on this. Do your homework, get the facts. I guarantee you'll see the same thing I saw. A disturbed kid who believed he was making a blood pact with a deity. Now the question is that I would ask, why only women? Why only women? I mean, think about that. To choose and target only women suggests a history of abuse of some sort, either verbal, sexual, or physical abuse of some sort, meaning he's got female issues, probably mama issues, if I had to put my finger on it. Which is probably why he edited that into his pact. But like I said, he has no history in the occult. There's no books, no grimoires, no nothing. They only found a handwritten pact signed with his blood and 2 websites. This indicates that he is new. He's an acolyte, a neophyte. So the question remains, why would anybody believe that E.A. Quetting or anyone else in the member of Balg had anything to do with this kid's decisions? Think about that for just a moment. I mean, seriously, think about that. These are just the facts written by the BBC. Think about it. This is all they had to go on. And here we are a year later, and YouTube decides, oh, we're going to get rid of E.A. Quetting. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I said, I'm not really a big fan of E.A. Quetting or Balg. Really not. I own a few of their books, but the one thing I can honestly say is nowhere in his works does he tell you to go out and commit murder. None of his videos or his courses tell you to go out and commit murder. What it does say, and comes from the book of Baneful Magic, chapter 1, is it goes into ritual sacrifice of your human nature. Basically, meaning you have to sacrifice your beliefs, you have to sacrifice everything you know to gain prosperity into the arcane. Think of it like this: if you are a Christian and you decide, okay, I'm going to get into Satanism and I'm going to practice what Anton Zandalave preached. Okay, you pick up his book, you don't even read the philosophy, the first half of the book, which is basically an outlined philosophy of how to live your life as a Satanist. What is Satanism? That's the first half of his book. The second half talks about the tools. The book of Belial literally talks about the tools, the 3 types of rituals that can be performed, and ends with the invocation to Satanas, meaning Satan, the Hebrew adversary, the Jewish tempter, the Islamic devil. Okay? And then you go into, and then you skip the book of Leviathan. So basically, a Christian would come in and just start performing that one rite. No understanding of where these devils came from, no understanding of where these devils of what these devils can do for you. No history, no mythology, no sound, firm ground to stand on, but yet they perform it. And what they say they're going to do, they turn around and do it. Okay, look at it like this: after the religious wars in the Middle East, why is it that the Knights of Templar were associated with Baphomet? Was it because of the statues that they acquired? Was it the statue of a gargoyle, which, by the way, is a protecting force on churches, medieval churches? The fact that demons translate into guardians, so therefore the church says, "Oh, fuck this, they're evil." Hmm. Who knows? We only know history. We only know the mythology behind it. But you get one of these clergymen that state, well, guess what? Only a clergy can practice black magic because we can't be corrupted by it. But yet, the second type of sorcery is these white lighters that can come in and say, hey, I'm petitioning to do a healing rite. Can I have your authority? Well, if they say no, well, you're fucked. But then you've got the black magician, the third classification put forth by Remy. This is Nicholas Remy, by the way, who is a Christian author. He's a Christian background, and he says, well, guess what? These type of practitioners basically said to the church, we're not going to ask for your blessings. We're just going to do what we want to do. You look at the Brua or the Bruo and Brugerian, okay? Their practices, they're more gray. Modern day practitioners are gray area, which means they can practice both light and dark practices. Okay, baneful sorcery, curses, hexes, jinxes, but also personalized beneficial magics. And then on top of that, can turn around and practice white magic, which basically means they can heal you, they can help you, they can bless you, they can consecrate you, yada, yada, yada. Has the church not done the same? That's the kicker, and that's the rub. They have. Do your history into the church over the last 1,000 years, and you will see exactly how they operate, how they introduce their doctrine for a short time before starting to ban things, and then they do a hostile takeover of pagan communities just to get into power. So you see the point here. E.A. Koetting is classified as an ascended master, basically. That's how the world views him. Just like you got a kid that's in his 20s writing a book on necromancy and saying, hey, I'm an ascended master. But at least that kid has a history behind him. They've learned and studied the texts. They've practiced it and found the applications through experimentation. But here's the kicker. This kid from last year, no history. Meaning he just got into it. No sound understanding. You see, this is why most traditions won't let anybody under 18 in. They will not even train anybody under 18 because they are not capable of the mental understanding of the philosophies and the practice and what it takes. They're still growing and maturing. So we don't allow them to get into it. And that is the point right there. This kid was under 18 when he committed these crimes, this crime. And because he viewed two forums, two different forums, the BBC News accused Balg for this kid killing two women. And here we are with YouTube taking down his channel. Do you know how many times I've seen outspoken practitioners, well rooted, both freedom of religion and freedom of speech? They're not thinking of the legal ramifications behind their actions. And that's a sad fact. I mean, you look at Zuckerberg, for an example. Same exact thing. Applying all these new rules and laws to their computer systems, not taking any responsibility, attacking the left hand path practices. Why aren't you going after the Christians? Religious discrimination. You see, the witch hunts are still going on today, no matter what people tell you. Oh, that ended back in, the witchcraft trials ended back in 1937, 1939 area. They're still going on today in the communities, not just these corporate businesses, because they think they can get away with it. I want you to think about that. This is why I tell people, know your legal rights. Because when you know your legal rights, nothing can stand against you. They can try all they want, but it's going to come back to haunt them. It would be like a police officer lying to your face. If you know your rights and your personal rights and you know the laws, guess what? You can put them in their place. Just saying. Have a good day.